I don't know how many of y'all still use the Book of Faces. I obviously do for my work. And as I was waiting for a video to upload earlier, I was scrolling and I came across a post from A Mighty Girl. I don't know if you're familiar with them. I followed them ages ago, more than a decade ago. As the mom at the time of two younger daughters, they shared a lot of literature, a lot of children's books, basically, that were empowering for girls. And I hadn't seen them in my feed in a long time when this post caught my eye today. And I've since seen it reshared in a couple of organizing groups and signal chats that I'm in, so I'm glad the word is getting out. But I want to share this post with you here now in case you haven't heard it. It quotes from and is based off of a piece from the Minnesota Star Tribune from January 31st of this year entitled "No Humanity, Detainees Describe Conditions Inside Whipple Federal Building." If you're watching this on YouTube, please also go to the video description because the end of this Facebook post shares a ton of helpful links and I will include them there. Be forewarned, this will not be easy to listen to. The young Muslim woman was shackled at the ankles. For 24 hours, she was locked inside a bathroom with 3 men at the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building, she said. They were given no bedding or pillows. Meals consisted of 1 sandwich a day. The sink faucet did not work, but the single toilet did. When the men pulled down their pants to use it, the woman hid her face. After 24 hours with the men, the young woman, a refugee who had completed the rigorous vetting process that all refugees undergo and had legal status in the U.S., was moved to a different locked bathroom in the building's basement. Her grueling experience was described in a recent post by the Minnesota Star Tribune on the inhumane conditions of people being detained by ICE in Minneapolis. When she had her period, agents told her to use toilet paper. When she felt dizzy and vomited twice, agents did not grant her request for medical care. There was an air vent at the door's bottom. When she saw federal agents' footsteps, she banged for help. On her 3rd night of detention, agents took in 2 new detainees, an African immigrant and her 7-month-old baby girl. She said the immigrant told her that they had been detained as the mother took her baby to a doctor to treat the child for influenza. When the woman arrived, she was screaming and crying and yelling, "My baby is already sick." She recalled, "I don't want my baby to die." The next morning, she said, the woman and the baby were moved from the bathroom. It wasn't until her 4th day of detention when the young woman was allowed to use a phone at the facility. When she heard her mother's voice, she burst into tears. On the 5th day, agents drove her and 2 other recently released detainees to a light rail station near Whipple. They took off her handcuffs and told her to call an Uber, even though she didn't have a phone. As they released her in the cold, she recalls their simple words, "You're good to go." This happened in Minneapolis, but these types of abuses are happening at ICE detention facilities all around the country. They're definitely happening at the Tacoma one north of here. Yesterday, Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland shared a post describing an oversight visit to the ICE facility in Baltimore. I'm going to share that clip with you now.
We saw one room of men where there are 55 people in there in a room I would not put more than a dozen or 15 people in. They said it could actually fit more, but people were just shoulder to shoulder, and they sleep there on the ground with those aluminum blankets you've seen. And the minute that we got in and started being able to look around, all of the men began to gesture to us that they needed a shower. There's no shower. So theoretically, they're not supposed to be in there for more than 3 days, but there were people telling us through the window that they'd been there for 5 days, 6 days, or 7 days, and to be packed in with 55 people, 1 toilet, and no showers is just not a healthy sanitary situation for anybody with.
Jamie Raskin went on to comment how there is a separate room in these detention facilities for violent criminals. That room was empty because the people that they are abducting are not violent criminals. The regime says that they are taking gang members, murderers, rapists. That's not true. That's not true. They're taking women who are here on asylum. They're taking mothers and their infants who are sick with influenza trying to get medical care. They're taking decent, hardworking folks who have every right to be in this country. This is happening because of Stephen Miller's 3,000 a day quota. ICE agents are getting, we've heard from multiple sources, per head bounties. They have to meet their quotas, and they're snatching anybody. And then when it comes to pass that a judge says you can't keep that person, you don't have a right to keep that person, they just dump them out in the cold, in the middle of the night, on the street, wherever. No coat, no phone. They've taken their phone, they've taken their identification, they don't give it back. They've taken personal effects like rings. They're taking people's engagement and wedding rings and not giving them back. They've been doing that for months and months. And shockingly, they are now taking 6 times the number of children that ICE was taking a year ago. Let me keep reading here. Even children are being treated like this. A Russian family who has been imprisoned at ICE's detention camp for children, in detention camp for children, concentration camp for children in Dilley, Texas, for over 4 months, detailed the horrendous conditions. As recounted by NBC News, they experienced worms in their food, guards shouting orders and snatching toys from small hands, restless nights under fluorescent lights that never go dark, hours in line for a single pill. According to the Marshall Project, there are other reports from the Dilley facility of families not having anything to eat for days, not having enough water to drink. According to the Marshall Project, in the last year, ICE has taken almost 4,000 children. They've kept many of them for long periods of time, months. The federal court has said that children in ICE detention should only be kept for a couple of days until custody can be secured for them through Child Protective Services, through someone who has signed a form allowing them to be a guardian. They're only supposed to be kept for a couple of days until that can happen. Under Donald Trump's regime, children are being kept for months. Many children are being kept for more than 20 days, which the court has deemed excessive. It's excessive for a child to be kept in a concentration camp for 20 days or more. It has a significant psychological, emotional toll on these kids. They regress. Not only are they not being given enough access to food and water and sufficient education, it is guys, children shouldn't be kept in prison. It's unbelievable to me that we're even having a debate about this. Okay, back to this Russian family. Nikita is an engineer and Oksana is a nurse, and their 3 children are all here in the United States legally with a pending asylum case. They say that they never imagined that their children would be subjected to such conditions in the United States. We left one tyranny and came to another kind of tyranny, Nikita says. Even in Russia, they don't treat the children like this. This is Trump's America, not the one he promised. This is the one that he's building. A nation of detention camps and bathroom cells, of shackled ankles and confiscated phones, of children crying themselves to sleep in facilities that a Russian dissident says are worse than Putin's Russia. Every day this continues without mass outcry, we become more complicit. Every day we look away, we decide this is acceptable, and it is not. This is a moral emergency, and history will judge us by what we did or failed to do to stop it. And if the Trump regime has their way, things are about to get a lot worse. Right now, as you're listening to this, ICE is quietly attempting to buy at least 24 massive concrete freight warehouses across the country and convert them into mega detention centers. These are concrete concentration camps. Industrial scale facilities designed to hold 8,000 to 10,000 human beings at once. Warehouses for human beings. That's what they want. The largest federal prison in the U.S. only holds 4,000 people. These would dwarf it. The plan calls for 16 processing sites, feeding into 8 enormous detention complexes, with billions in taxpayer dollars flowing to private prison contractors, Geo Group and CoreCivic, who profit from every bed filled. As I have said so many times, ethnic cleansing concentration camps are big business in Trump's America. Deals are being signed this month. Warehouses in Arizona, Maryland, Texas, and Pennsylvania have already been purchased. Many more are in the pipeline. They've been doing these deals in secret, ignoring health and safety concerns, actively hiding their plans from local communities, because they know that this cannot survive public scrutiny and outrage. To fill facilities of this size, ICE cannot limit itself to the worst of the worst, no matter what they tell you. The math is simple. They have to keep doing exactly what they're doing in Minnesota, sweeping up families, workers, asylum seekers, and taxpayers. Then it will be citizens. It will be citizens next who are political dissidents, I promise you. The conditions in these facilities are already horrendous. ICE has proven beyond any doubt that it is incapable of running detention facilities humanely. At least 31 people have died in ICE custody this year. There have been more than 1,000 credible reports of human rights abuses in the last year, in 1 year. And now they want to massively expand this broken, dangerous system. But here's what they don't want you to know. Communities are fighting back in Virginia. Days of protests and a unanimous county board resolution killed a warehouse deal. In Utah, residents picketed until the property owner refused to sell. In Kansas City, a county official refused to stay silent and brought national attention that derailed ICE's plan. The time to act is now, to refuse to let our country torture refugees and imprison children, to stop them from doing this on an industrial scale.